This is the More Doors Podcast, episode number 68. We're here with an amazing guest. We just had a great pre-podcast conversation. You guys are going to love this guy. We'll be back to talk to our guest about a number of great topics right after this. All right, everybody, we are back on the More Doors Podcast. Really excited. My son was very proud of me that I said 6'7" on the opening of the last episode.
Do your listeners know what that means?
I hope so.
I mean, if you have kids under the age of what would you say under the age of
13?
13, you would know what that means. Otherwise,
well, there was also a whole South Park episode about it. I'm not sure if you've seen it.
I actually saw clips of that.
Yeah, it's hysterical. It's hysterical.
South Park's really good at picking up on what's happening out there that week.
Yes.
Like the writers are great.
Yes. I'm sure that's AI, so they can whip it up in like 10 minutes before the show.
Right. That's right. They're not coming up with their own creatives there.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. All right, we're here with an amazing guest today, but before we get into our chat with our guest, I definitely want to give a nod to the one and only Jesse Showalter with Tor Studios. We get so many compliments about what Jesse's built here. If you're thinking about getting into the podcast space, or if you already have a podcast and you're looking to change it up, give it a fresh look, give my boy Jesse a shout. Hit him up at office@torstudios.com. That's TORE studios.com. He's going to take really good care of you. You can be in this beautiful studio and really put out a fantastic product. Also want to give a shout to my boys with Deep Blue Capital. Go check us out at deepbluere.com. for the latest on our investments and any upcoming offerings. Sign up for the newsletter, all the things. Subscribe to the channel. That's like a mouthful.
I'm impressed.
Yeah?
That was good.
Thank you. Thank you. How you doing, Jesse? Good. Thumbs up from the man behind the curtain. Without any further ado, enough about me, enough small talk. I'm here to introduce fantastic guest, somebody I've known for a while but only met in person as of recently. Mr. Jack Stone, Managing Director of Greysteel Investments.
I appreciate it. What a nice intro. We're going to turn it on you today. We're going to ask you questions.
I'm scared. I'm starting to sweat already.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't know if anybody's ever told you this, but like Jack Stone is like one of those power names.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like Steve Jobs, Dirk Diggler, Jack Stone. You're in good company.
You want to hear something funny? My wife's name is Jackie. So
really?
Imagine the conversations we have.
Is her last name Granite or anything?
Jack and Jackie Stone. And I just know at one point there's going to be some confusions. There's going to be stories.
Okay.
Yeah.
My wife told me yesterday she met a husband and wife that were both named Aaron.
That's funny. I know a husband and wife both named Alex.
Really?
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? This is a serious question, and I hope we're recording this because I'm going to play this for my wife.
There we go.
So I believe that AARON is Aaron.
Okay.
And that ERIN is Aaron.
This is so interesting. First off, I think this is your New York background.
Yeah, totally.
Right? Because I was surprised to hear that you were from New York. But the way that you pronounced the AARON to me was like a New York way of saying it. Whereas if you're in Texas, you're just going to say Aaron.
Really?
I think so.
Is it pecan and the other way to say it? Because I won't say it the other way. Pecan? It's pecans.
No, it's pecan.
Okay, you can say it, not me.
Pecan.
And I don't say the Y word, the YALL. I don't say that.
Yeah.
I still say use guys.
Interesting.
Yeah. I refuse. There's certain things that I refuse to give up about my New York heritage, including my 347 number.
Yeah.
I'm not
well, it's funny you mentioned that. So first off, I'm born and raised in Dallas. So Texas is my home. My dad is from the Lower East Side of New York.
Nice.
So he actually lived in Dallas for 25 years, never lost his accent, ever. And I never noticed it. Now I notice it, and it's like you're from another world.
It is.
It really is.
It totally is.
And my wife's family's all out of Philadelphia, so totally different
It's
vibe.
a different vibe.
Yeah.
There's some vernacular commonalities, but there is definitely a different vibe.
Yeah.
Definitely a different vibe.
Yeah,
I didn't know you had heritage from the Lower East Side. I went to NYU, man. That's like
Did you
as
really?
Lower East Side as it gets.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah.
It's a cool vibe down there.
It's totally cool.
Yeah.
I lost a bunch of brain cells on the Lower East Side back in the day. I used to run Friday nights at Limelight, and I used to go to the Tunnel.
Yeah.
Both Peter Gation clubs, like
Oh, you've lived a life.
Oh,
You've
yeah,
had-
dude.
You have stories. I'm
I have
sure.
stories. I have stories. Lots of them I can't talk about here, but
We could get political and talk about what NYU's up to these days, but
I wouldn't know.
we won't get there.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. Plus, I was just talking to somebody the other day about the Violets. The Violets are the least intimidating sports name I've ever heard.
Oh, is that? I didn't know that was actually. I never thought about what their mascot.
They have it's Division 16, and their team name is the Violets.
So NYU has sports, is what you're saying.
I mean, they think they do.
Interesting.
They think they do. They have the form of a sport, but they're not very threatening.
So what do you think? I mean, a lot of I'm sure a lot of your listeners are Texas based. I would imagine, probably local, perhaps, maybe national, maybe international. I don't know, but
there's a few.
What do you think the biggest cultural difference is? I mean, from being in New York and being here, what would you say the pros and cons are?
I always say this, and I really do mean it. The people are just nicer, right?
Yeah.
Like I can go to HEB, and I can say that now because we have one in McKinney, and I'm very excited about it. They remember your name. They say hello to you, right? Everybody in New York is hustling in some way, shape, or form, either to work, back from work, in between appointments. They're zoned out. They got their headphones in. And while there's certainly some of that here, I think people appreciate other people, and they want to let you know how nice they are for the most part. I think our definitions of traffic vary wildly between Dallas and New York, right? Like if you haven't been stuck on the LIE at 5 o'clock in the rain, you don't know traffic. Like I see traffic on Google Maps down here as like people being stuck at a red light. It doesn't count.
What about taking an Uber 4 blocks and paying $60?
No way, Jose.
Yeah,
no,
that won't fly in Dallas.
Definitely not. Definitely not. I think that's the fastest way for Uber to collapse in Dallas. Plus, everything's a lot more spread out, right? I think if you look at New York, aside from Long Island, people don't really understand that Long Island is 110 miles long, right? And it's like 10 times the size of Manhattan Island,
right?
Here, I mean, we're super spread out, and
it's. I wish. I mean, I'm not saying anything that we don't all think about. I wish public transportation here was better.
True.
I was in New York the other day, and I took the Amtrak from New York to DC to meet with some clients. It's the easiest thing. I did work on the train, all in one day, there and back. It was such a great experience. I wish we had something like that.
Agreed. I think there's a lot to be said for public transportation in New York. You have tons and tons of options. Here, you have DART and maybe a handful of buses. And that's about it.
DART rail? Is that a thing? Like
apparently enough people take it to keep it in business, but I've never been on it. I'm here 12 years.
To keep it in business, like we're paying for that.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
So
I hear there's like extending it, and now there's one that goes to the airport. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know. Yeah. I love to drive, and I really enjoy driving here because there's not as many potholes as there are in New York.
Totally.
And you can open up the car. I got to be honest. Like one of the things I love about Texas is the 70 mile an hour speed limit.
Are you a car guy?
I'm not a car guy. I'd like to drive. I got a nice car a couple of years ago. I love to drive that thing, but I'm not like over the top about it.
It's interesting. Before we started, we were just talking about how I went full autonomous mode on the Tesla, and I was blown away.
Yeah.
I think we're 1 year away from no one even driving anymore.
I believe it. I think the rate of change is happening exponentially. We just haven't caught up with it yet, or really seen it yet. But all of a sudden, everything's going to be robot driven, autonomous, this, that. It's happening already. Like I'm big on Claude code lately.
Love it.
I can put something in there and let it run and come back, and it sends you a little. It's like the microwave going off, ding, and it's done.
Right.
And it's just nuts what's happening.
It is nuts. What's nuts to me is the people that aren't on Claude yet, and in a month there's going to be something else. Right? By the time people are listening to this, they'll be
100%.
Whatever. But the people that you talk to who are like, yeah, I'm using ChatGPT. You're like, what are you on Facebook?
Yeah.
That's a joke
because
like no one's really on Facebook anymore unless you're over a certain age.
Shit, I was on Facebook today. Am I not cool? Sorry, he's blowing up my spot.
So yeah, it's funny.
Well, let's talk about you for a second.
Sure.
So I know Jack. We've connected on a bunch of deals over time, and I've seen you in just the last couple of years really get circulated more with CRE Daily, and you got the podcast. So, and I understand you were an attorney way back in the day. So
Yeah.
take a minute and tell our listeners
Sure.
who you are.
No, thanks for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So I'm managing director at Greysteel. Greysteel's mostly middle market investment sales, capital markets firm. We're based out of DC. I help lead our DFW team with a few partners and colleagues. It's a great team. We really cover multifamily investment sales throughout DFW and most of the state of Texas. We have an office in Austin that covers Central Texas, and then we cover sort of the surrounding states as well: New Mexico, Oklahoma, Arkansas, a little bit of Louisiana, and like I mentioned, we have a capital markets team that's placing debt and equity as well. This is a great firm. Very, I always like to think that we kind of are like, I'll throw this out there. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I went to Greysteel. I think we have a lot of the same resources and sophistication as, the big four, but we're more nimble. I mean, you don't have to be a cog in a wheel, essentially, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Love that.
Yes, I was an attorney.
What kind of attorney were you?
So I grew up in Dallas. I went to UT for college and for law school. Came back to Dallas to work at a big law firm called K&L Gates. I make no secret about this. I really hated it. Wasn't for me. I don't know. I know a lot of
lawyers. What did you hate about being an attorney? It sounds fun.
It does. Well, when you watch Suits, of course it sounds fun. What I found is a lot of just kind of staring at your computer. And
you don't strike me as that kind of guy.
It's just not for me.
Yeah.
We had a client who was in real estate, and he was a broker in investment sales, and he was putting deals together on the side as well. And I just thought it was so cool. And not only did he seem to have a great lifestyle and balance between work and, personal life, but he made a lot more money than the partners I was working for.
Wow.
So I was like, what am I doing? So that was kind of the beginning of the end for me, and took me a while to kind of figure it out. But eventually, to me, multifamily became sort of a no-brainer. And investment sales, I thought, was very interesting because you learn how to really underwrite and actually learn how to invest and things that you probably wouldn't get if you were doing just leasing or something like that in commercial real estate. And the rest is history. The CRE Daily thing is an interesting thing that's happened more recently. So I was approached to see if I'd be interested in initially hosting a new podcast for CRE Daily. And for those that don't know, CRE Daily is, I think, the largest daily commercial real estate newsletter. It goes out every day. If you don't have it, sign up. It's a great, quick
I
read.
get it. I promise.
Yeah. So they got to a place where I think they had, they hit 70,000 subscribers, and they said, "What's our next vertical? Let's do a podcast, because that's what you do."
Yeah.
And so I was approached, and I said, "I'll do it if I can have my best buddy Alex do it with me." So he's my co-host, and the thinking is, and you get this, worst case scenario, we can at least talk about whatever, because we have good banter, and he's a buddy.
Yeah.
And so it's been 18 months now. I think we've grown exponentially. We used to beg people to come on. Now we have people reaching out to us from, every institutional real estate firm you can think of, which is super cool.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, it's great. We were just talking about this. I mean, it's not like I'm making money from this, but it is a very fun way to connect with people from various parts of the industry that I probably wouldn't be connecting with otherwise.
Sure. It's funny because I think about this a lot. There's an unidentifiable ROI that happens, in my opinion, when you have a strong personal brand, right?
Yep.
And if you're getting the podcast out, it's inevitable that somebody's going to say, "Hey, I just saw you on the podcast." I put out some videos. Jesse helped me a couple of years ago, put out a series of leadership videos on a framework that I'm really passionate about. And I've had 3 people that I've interviewed in the last 6 or 8 months say, "I'm here because of your videos." And you never really get a chance to know your boss before you take a job.
Yeah.
And I'm here and I want this job
kidding.
because I believe in the philosophy that of the videos that you put out.
And they picked up money from that. That's
100%.
how,
Yeah. And whether it's an investor or maybe you get a deal opportunity or, a coffee meeting with someone you wouldn't have ever met because you have a strong personal brand for the podcast, that to me replaces, the monetary value.
Well, I had, I don't think it's easy putting yourself out there.
True.
Right. I had a moment with our CEO, Ari Fruzabadi, who is one of the smartest business minds I know out there. I mean, if not, he is the smartest business guy I've ever met, and has a good knack for kind of picking up on, what the next big thing is and what to focus on and so forth. And I, he initially kind of encouraged me to put myself out there a little bit more, and I really gave it some more thought. It's not comfortable for anyone, but I think we're in this day and age where we're in the attention age.
That's right. The attention economy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think if you're not putting yourself out there, I think you're losing.
I
certainly don't think you lose from putting yourself out there, right? I think it's only going to be a net additive. I think you're always going to have people who are going to hate, right? They're going to be, oh, look at that guy. Why's he doing that? Or what? But like, you just got to do you.
Agreed.
And I think ultimately it's a good thing to put yourself out there.
I agree. And I think there's, you mentioned you used the word authentic earlier.
Yeah.
I think it's a great way to be authentic. A lot of people feel like they have to have this kind of stage face or stage presence.
Man,
right? I just want to go somewhere and riff with cool people and be me. If you don't like it, then go find somebody else's show.
So it's funny you say that. Growing up in Dallas, there's a vibe here in certain crowds where I think it's very, very serious.
Mm-hmm.
Very putting up a front.
Yeah.
Relax, like just be yourself, and don't take everything too seriously. You can take your job very, very serious, and also not take yourself too serious.
True.
So, anyways, that's my take.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
I love what you're doing here, and I think it's I've watched some of your videos, and I think it's to me right back at you. I think you show a lot of authenticity.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you. I appreciate that. We try and keep it real around here.
Yeah.
I think the only way we can keep it more real is to let more F-bombs fly. But it's a family show, and I can't say, oh, dude,
all the kids listening to this out there.
So
on
true
their
story.
carpool.
My son is the first one to know when we publish an episode. He's 12, and like he comes home from school the other day. Or I came home from work, one or the other, and he was like, "Daddy, I don't believe you did the 6-7 on the podcast." I'm like, I didn't even know it was out. And he's like, he's already watched part of it.
Though.
He
That's
does.
Cool.
He does.
So you knew what no cap meant, and I didn't know what no cap meant. So.
We try and keep it no caps around here.
Yeah, no cap.
Try. Yeah,
no cap.
At least I do.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know, Jack's podcast is called the No Cap Podcast.
That's right. It's called the No Cap Podcast. And for those that don't have kids under the age of whatever, no cap means truth. But when we first started, I actually thought no cap meant something about cap rate or
honestly, that was the first time that was before I knew what no cap meant. That's what I thought you were talking about.
Yeah, me too. It's anyways, I'm hipper now.
Nice. You're pretty cool, Jack.
Yeah, thanks.
You're pretty cool.
You don't know me that well. But yeah.
So we were talking before the show about workforce housing.
Yep.
And is that where you focus, or is that where Greysteel focuses?
I'll tell you. So Greysteel's mostly workforce housing. At any given moment, we have one or two institutional deals that we're working on.
Mm-hmm.
Our bread and butter really has been mostly workforce. I think over time it gets newer, right? As new product continues to come online.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in workforce housing. I think right now, I know a lot of your listeners are in probably the multifamily space.
Yeah.
There's a big flight to quality trend right now, which I understand. There's been so many groups who've gotten burned buying that Class C, Class B product over the last few years. And they're, we'll be real, they're a pain in the ass to run, right? You have a lot of CapEx consistently. It's very hard to cash flow a lot of these deals if you're not underwriting them correctly and budgeting the right amount of R&M and so forth. So the flight to quality I get. But I think now there's a huge reset. I have seen a big reset in pricing and yield for your Class B, your Class C, 1970s, 80s product, 1960s, we could get into there because that's a whole other world, but even there at the right basis. And I also just think that missing middle that we keep talking about, right? I mean, there is a need for affordable housing, and that's not going to change. And they're not building Class C properties anymore.
True.
So that's my take.
No, it's a good take. And we're largely invested in Class C. right? So we have some assets in Arlington, other places around the DFW Metroplex. And it'd be great if we could move up a notch,
Sure.
right? But there was like nothing built in the 1990s. For,
It's hard.
it's crazy. So
Yeah.
you're either looking at 60s, 70s product, a handful of 80s, or you're into the 2000s. We were talking before the show about, recent market reset and how BOVs, you're starting to look at some deals for potential buyers or sellers.
Yep.
How has the workforce housing market changed? Those deals were selling for 3 or 4 caps a few years ago, and
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah, and now they're what are they looking at now?
I mean, look, there's still some pricing correction that needs to happen, right?
Still more.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's talked about the bag, right? The bid ask gap.
Yeah.
And I coined that term.
Nice.
Thanks.
No cap and
yeah,
bag.
Yeah.
Check.
Thanks. Yeah. It was like 20, 25%. I mean, we're down to like 5% maybe now. I mean, it's getting to where it needs to be.
Yeah.
60s product, it's so hard to sell, right? I mean, so you have to be north of a 7 cap for sure on these 60s deals. But I think you can buy, you can find 80s product, with 6 handles. That didn't happen a year or two. I mean, certainly a couple years ago.
True.
Doesn't mean it necessarily pencils, but it's there. And I think there probably needs to be a little bit more correction for some 70s, but it's so pocket specific, as you know. And I think, something that is very clear too is if it's a 60s or 70s product, but it's, urban infill or, location where the land itself is going to be valuable, that carries a lot of weight too.
True. I've always wondered about what happens when this 60s product kind of ages out, right? Because at some point,
both.
At some point, you're just not going to be able to, or not going to want to put another dollar worth of capex and keep band-aiding the situation. And do you just knock the things over and put a McDonald's there or something?
I think about that too, right? I think, certainly there's you're buying it for the yield. You got to buy it at a low, attractive enough basis to where on your exit, you're being conservative enough that maybe someone picks that up, right? At a, 8 cap. I'm just throwing out numbers there, but you certainly have to be conservative in your underwriting. And to your point, at some point you just knock it down.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We have 2 assets next door to each other, and there's like an amazing A-class student complex literally down the block. And, I've always wondered, like, as UT Arlington continues to grow, right? Do we get a call from the owner of that building saying we want to build another building? We need to buy your block.
I've seen crazier things happen, right?
There's been some days where I want to write them a letter and say, please buy this thing.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it
couldn't hurt.
Time can heal, right?
Right.
Hopefully you have some long-term fixed debt on it. I think it's hard to go wrong if you do that.
Yeah. We took out, we went through a very, very painful refinance process back in 2024. So now we're on fixed debt. We ended up getting, 575 right there the day before Thanksgiving of 2024. So we're probably right back there from an IR perspective now, although I heard rates dipped until like the low 5s before this conflict in Iran.
You can still do buy downs and, get there.
Yeah. Something that you just said, and reminded me of something I learned on Bigger Pockets a long time ago. Real estate tends to be very forgiving if you hold it long enough.
Right.
Do you think that we're going to realize that? Because there was a lot of deals that traded, right, in 21 through 23 that, are worth a lot less now than they were purchased for. Yeah. But
let's be real, right? I think, if you're holding it for a century, sure. But some of these deals were just so overpriced. I'm being a little, I'm sarcastic.
I don't think they do 100-year terms, Jack. There's no 100-year term at Fannie or Freddie.
But I certainly think that DFW is a high growth enough market to where, sure, absolutely. The problem is how long can you extend and pretend for?
Yeah.
So I think we're starting to see some sellers get a little bit more realistic there, and lenders are starting to get a little bit, realistic as well.
Yeah.
So.
The I'm sure you know this, right? The old adage was survive through 25.
Oh my
we
gosh.
We now say hold your dicks through 26, right?
It's a good one.
You like that one?
Yeah.
It's almost.
Did you coin that?
Yeah, I did. I made that up. So where is the bottom in your opinion? Like, you're on the front lines of this, and as I understand it, right, that the extended pretend period's got to end at some point. We're starting to see more and more lender-owned assets hitting the street. We're hearing about foreclosures. There's a big property not too far from our student asset in Waco that just got foreclosed on. So, do you think we've seen the worst of it from a foreclosure and kind of voluntary handover time period, or is the worst yet to come?
I think the worst is yet to come.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
And what do you think is the timing on that?
Next 12 months, 12 to 18 months. Yeah, I do. I mean, I think there's going to continue to be a trickle, but I've talked to enough lenders and special servicers to see what's kind of on the horizon. So yeah, I think, and with everything with Iran, who knows what's going to happen, but rates are not coming down. And, what is there, like a 10% chance at this point that the Fed lowers anything here? After
with their comments this week, I wouldn't even say that 10% is realistic.
Right. Yeah. So there you go. So I just think everyone is kind of holding out some hope.
Yeah. So, I feel like it's been kind of this perfect storm the last couple of years. First it was taxes, then it was insurance, then it was interest rates. They all happened really, really quickly. And then we were starting to see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. And now we have geopolitical conflict, Ukraine, Iran, Cuba, Venezuela. Like, there's conflict across 3 continents at this point, which is absolutely crazy.
Right.
So what do you think needs to happen for more stability to enter, this market?
And, I think you forgot to mention, it's just all the new products still coming online, right?
True.
So that's a big part of it too. I mean, if you look at what CoStar and Yardi says about the DFW market, we're lucky if we hit 90% occupancy over the next 4 years.
90% over 4 years?
That's CoStar and Yardi. I don't know exactly how they factor all that stuff in. And that's on a macro market level, not micro, right? And we're not, real estate's very, location specific and sub-market specific. So I think there's more pain to come. I mean, I just do. I mean, you see a lot of buyers underwriting to flat growth over the next year.
Wow.
So, again, there are some pockets that are crushing and are going to do well, but, conservative underwriting is back on the table.
Yeah, totally.
Probably for the better. By the way, I say that it is incredibly competitive market still as a buyer. Yeah.
On the institutional stuff or across all segments?
Above.
Really?
All the above. Absolutely. Texas is still a very hot commodity, especially DFW. So as much as I say conservative underwriting is the move now, it's all relative. Conservative compared to where we were in 2022, but it varies from sponsor to sponsor.
Speaking of sponsors, I know we kind of chatted about this when we ran into each other at IMN the other day, but I've had a lot of conversations recently with both guests and just in the community about, the challenges with raising equity, because there was a lot of money raised a few years ago in deals that have either gone south or are on life support. And, when you trace those back, was it sponsors who may not have had skin in the game, or perhaps, fell in love with the mystique of being a syndicator, right? Or was it just macroeconomic forces, putting the clamps on some of these opportunities?
So basically, what was the question? Like, what got all these sponsors involved to begin with?
I mean, that's a different question. So why don't you take that one first?
That's a good question, actually. It's crazy. As a broker, you see the good, the bad, the ugly. You see what makes a good sponsor. You see what makes a bad sponsor. Often you scratch your head as to like how this person ever convinced anyone to give them their money. And other times you're very impressed, right? I just think money was so easy. It was just so easy. And you could see people who had no business being in real estate just riding the wave. Very easy to make money in real estate when, rates are on the downward slope.
Sure.
Very hard when they're coming up. So, I'll tell you as a broker, there's been a lot of times where it's like, well, shit, he's making how much? Like, golly, like I need to be doing more of that and less of this. And of course, the tides turn. I'm sure there are moments where sponsors are like, the broker's making what? Which we can talk about, by the way. It's not always as much as you might think. Money was just way too easy for everyone. And I think that a lot of sponsors got in over their head. I think there's a certain level of professionalism that quite a few have lacked. As a broker, you see it takes you more than a day or two to get back to my email, or you don't know why 3 units are down. You don't know why your water went up 15% last month. Like you're just, those are basic things that you would think you would be on top of.
Right.
And a lot of them have not been. And that's why a lot of them are in some of these situations they're in right now. Some of them are running their properties fantastic. It's just a broken capital stack.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I agree with you. And this is something that Nick DeLeone and I chatted about a couple of weeks ago. There was like this formula that a lot of these mastermind groups and syndication groups were talking about. Like, you can have a W-2 and just hire a great property management company and they'll take care of it. And all you got to do is manage the manager, right?
Yeah, good luck.
And have your weekly call.
Right.
And candidly, it was easy. It was apparently easy to pick a good property manager between 2021 and 2023 because people were migrating. People were spending money, moving, right? And as the market's tightened up here over the last couple of weeks, I think it's last couple of years, excuse me. I think the market's really exposed who was a great property management company and who was not, and who was just kind of riding the wave along with a lot of these sponsors that just jumped into the market because they thought it was cool, right? Well, so how much is property management?
So people forget property management also is you can have a management company that's terrible at this property and great at this property, right? It's so from what I see, and I'm curious what you think from your end, but I think it's very dependent on who your regional manager is and who your property manager is. Sometimes these property management companies will kind of, circulate the good ones. And so I think it's on you as the sponsor and the person presumably in charge of that property for your investors to just be on top of that, get to know who your managers are, your on-site staff are, and just stay on top of them, get to know them on a personal level a little bit and be involved in those decisions.
Yeah. It's tough though. We've had to change property management companies a couple of times. They feel the pinch too.
Sure.
And, all of a sudden they are downsizing. So they have fewer people to manage the same workload.
Well, it's a shitty business.
It is.
Property management's tough.
It sucks.
And that's your whole business plan hinges on that.
I couldn't imagine being on the other side of the phone from me, by the way.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
oh yeah.
And my partner, Mike, is like super analytical and he's putting charts together of water flows and gallons per day and sending screenshots. Yeah. Like, oh my God. I couldn't imagine
them.
Seriously.
I think it's a really tough business.
It's
a really tough business.
But how many sponsors are not doing that, right? Like if our water consumption at one of our assets goes up by more than X percent in a day, like Mike's going to figure it out here pretty quick. What happens to the sponsors that aren't in the weeds like that? Like we're in a market right now where I believe micromanagement is critical, right? Yeah. How long is it taking you to respond to leads? What are you saying? Mm-hmm. Are you relying on prospects to do a virtual tour or one of these self-guided tours as opposed to meeting them there?
I think one of the problems is, for starters, you do need to have some level of trust. At least your on-site managers are more likely going to know a little bit more about what's happening than you are. Yeah. So don't try and outsmart them or think you know better than they do. Try to really listen to them.
Yeah.
And you don't have to, take everything they say, but get some feedback from them. And I think the problem that a lot of these sponsors are in right now is they don't have a lot of liquidity. Mm-hmm. And so if you don't have a lot of reserves built up and you have condensers that you need to replace and roofs that are leaking. And meanwhile, you have tenants who are leaving because of that. What do you do?
Right.
You're in a tough spot.
Yep.
And those are the owners I think right now are probably just, you're not going to get capital calls in this environment. So, you could maybe find some rescue capital, some sort of recap, but you're going to be giving up a lot.
Yep.
So I think a clean sale is probably the move, but you're going to take a loss. And so those are those tough conversations I think everyone's having.
It's very, very real. And, we had 2 separate deals within 90 days of each other where, we needed to inject, 6 figures per deal, one to get a refi across the line at the last minute to seize a fantastic rate. And
so what did you do?
The GP team forked it up, right? And, if we didn't have that liquidity, those deals would have gone south and a lot of people would have been very, very upset, right? Yeah. And so, but we came to the table knowing that we had the resources to do that in the event we had to.
Sure.
And it got to the point where we had to. And we've righted the ship both times, right? But when you're closing on a refi the day before Thanksgiving and you're going to buy the rate down because your bond trader's on the phone with you saying you have to take this now because it's going up, tick by tick.
Yeah.
You got to take that
That's
move.
Stressful.
It is stressful.
Yeah.
But you also, if you're an LP, you have to know that your GP team is capable of doing that and, working it out with the team later. And we had Tyler Evans on the show last week from down in Houston. They self-funded their raise in order to get this great deal that they just closed on, and now they're raising after the fact to pay themselves back, right? That's how your GP team can get stuff done, right? Not because they put a great PowerPoint together and they did a great webcast, but do they have the pockets to step into that deal and protect your funds and make sure that the best potential outcome happens?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Everything you said. Yeah, it's crazy. One of the things that I find to be really interesting right now, I think a lot of people keep scratching their head on this, is the sponsors who have lost a lot of their capital and equity from, who knows how many investors over the last year or two, and are just going back there and doing it all over again and finding new buckets of capital. By the way, that doesn't mean that they're necessarily bad sponsors. Some of them are great, right? But it is very interesting to see how quick some are able to rebuild and, find those extra buckets somewhere.
Right. It's funny you say that because I feel like there was this expectation in the LP community that nothing was ever going to go wrong, right? And I don't know retrospectively if we could have seen all these kind of headwinds coming as quickly as they did and in consequences they did.
No one could have, I don't think, right?
But did they have some of these LPs never bought a stock that went down, right? Did they never get a margin call that they had to meet because?
Well, the problem is this, right? Most of your LPs are going to be friends, family, colleagues.
Yeah.
They don't know how to underwrite a multifamily asset.
Right.
How could they? So they're relying on you. They're investing in you, not the property.
Right.
So that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
So
yeah, the credibility piece to me has been and always will be super important. And I'm very interested to see how some of these things, some of these assets shake out. I think some of what has happened and some of what will happen the next 12 to 18 months is without a doubt, a result of the headwinds and the macroeconomic environment that we're in. I don't think anyone could have predicted this.
No, a lot of really smart, seasoned real estate professionals got caught up in all this.
Yeah.
Too. So that's why I mean, you can shit on people all you want, but a lot of this was out of your hands to an extent, and it's very easy to get wrapped up in the momentum that everybody was in 2022, 2023.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So something else I noticed about you as of recently is that you are dabbling in the AI within our market here. Yeah. So Nick mentioned how they're using AI agentically to help underwrite deals, and Tyler's uploading his GL ledgers into his platform of choice to figure out what they're spending a lot of money on and
Okay,
stuff.
but are you tired of hearing the term AI a little bit? Be honest.
I don't necessarily mind it.
No?
No.
Well,
The 6-7 thing bothers me more than hearing AI.
You know what? That's fair. I respect that.
As long as we don't start doing this when people say AI, I'll be okay.
I still dab. So, for those that don't know what that is, no.
Are you a flosser? Be honest. Do you floss?
I actually don't know what that is.
I mean the little.
You mean flossing your teeth?
No, flossing the dance. No. Okay, good. I don't know how to do it.
See, I didn't even know what that was. So you're teaching me. You're teaching me things.
Things change when you have kids. You'll find out.
And your kids, they're at a great age where they're really teaching you things.
They know all the things. Yeah. Yes, they're keeping me cool.
So I think we're throwing the term AI out a little too much. It's getting a little out of control, but it is wild, and we can't deny the fact that everything's changing, and it's changing very quick. And it is all due to AI. So but LinkedIn's out of control.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't be able to repeatedly say comment below with
a friend request, and I'll send you the link.
Yeah, like, come on, man, can we stop that? I get it, it works, but it's tough to see time and time again.
Yeah,
right? I mean, a little bit. Does that annoy you at all, or no, or you don't care?
No, some of it fascinates me, right? But
like
I'm
the
also
LinkedIn shtick, or
just
AI
the amount. I look at what's. I have LinkedIn open all day, probably multiple tabs.
I love LinkedIn. My wife works at LinkedIn, by the way.
Does she really?
Yeah. So
nice.
I have an in now.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Does she work on like the sales nav?
She's on the sales side. I mean, I don't have an in, but it's still kind of cool. Yeah.
The amount of money I would pay those folks for my sales team is crazy. What a business.
She's on the recruiting side. She sells the recruiting software that LinkedIn has.
Oh, cool.
So if you have a company and you are using LinkedIn as a recruiting platform, she will be one of those contacts who's
that's cool.
Helping.
Nice. Talk about a hidden business, right? What they've built.
It's crazy.
Remember the ladders? I still get emails from the ladders.com, and they started off probably 15 years ago as the place to find 100K plus jobs. I can't even believe they're still around.
LinkedIn has a almost like a monopoly. She was telling me just how easy of a sell it kind of is to an extent. I mean, there's no, you can go to Indeed, but Indeed sucks. So
I agree.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah.
So yeah, AI is interesting. The social media phenom of AI and how people are promoting it is interesting. I've gotten very involved in it because I just find it interesting. I found that I don't have enough time as a professional to spend all day, every day figuring out what the new AI trend is that week.
Yep.
And it's very hard to keep up with, but I want to be able to speak knowledgeably about what's happening in an AI and have an idea of how to incorporate it somehow into my workflow. So I teamed up with a company called AI Edge, and I'm kind of helping them out in an advisor capacity. AI Edge is part of Adventures in Commercial Real Estate. So it's A.CRE, which you may have seen. Adventures in Commercial Real Estate is probably, I think, the most well-known sort of modeling platform that teaches you how to, underwrite properties and model in Excel and kind of understand a lot of the fundamentals when it comes to, any sort of analysis of commercial real estate. And I found it to be just a really great platform. I mean, it's they have a free version and they have a paid version. The paid version gets you access to, monthly seminars on what's new, the hottest trends, all that type of stuff. So you can keep up with it that way. And then just a bunch of workshops and, prompts and things that just really keep you up to date. So I just thought it was really cool because you don't have to spend all day researching and going to this source and that source. You can just go to that one source, AI Edge, and do it that way.
So is it just focused on commercial real estate?
It is. It's just AI for commercial real estate.
So how far are we from having a very accurate, viable AI underwriting tool?
Isn't that funny? Because it's like everyone's got their version. Everyone's comment below for my free version.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're always going to have this is, everyone says this is true. I mean, you need to have human eyes.
Totally.
On this. You cannot rely on it. But I think we're there in terms of doing 99% of it. I mean, I think you can get that, done. You can, there are platforms out there you can sign up for. You can create your own workflow. I mean, are you using it at all?
I am. I've gotten into it a lot. And I was making a joke a couple of weeks ago. I had really fought AI for a while, and now I don't know what I would do without it.
Yeah,
and so
same.
on the weekend, I'll do a process in Claude and just save it as a skill, so I don't need to go through the whole process again. And then when I need to do a similar project to that, I just say use this skill, and it just bangs it out. And that to me is a huge time saver and really starts to build my dependency.
Yep.
And much like you, I don't spend anywhere near as much time in there just nerding out. Like
Sure.
I fell for one of the posts on LinkedIn recently.
Don't be hard on yourself. We all have.
Build your own. I built my own AI executive assistant.
Yeah, of course.
Connect with me and comment,
How'd that turn
assistant
out?
below.
How'd that turn out?
I don't even have the time to do it.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's still gonna be an afternoon worth of work. Maybe I'll knock it out this weekend
with it, right? Like it's no matter what, and it's probably not going to be as good as they're hyping it up to be.
Yeah.
At least not yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, but I need to start somewhere, right? You kind of got to look at it. You got to see the output. You got to figure out how to make it your own.
That's why I like AI Edge.
Yeah?
/trial. Check it out, people. It's AI.edge.
AI.edge/trial.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm gonna go subscribe. I'm gonna go try it out.
Yeah, it's in my LinkedIn profile. There's a link there. Check it out.
And so Jack Stone on LinkedIn.com. LinkedIn.com/Jack Stone. Go to AI Edge-trial.
That's why these platforms are great. I think they like some of these. I mean, just to have a one-stop shop place. Otherwise, I spent an entire weekend creating an OpenClaw account and trying to make my own sort of agentic workflow. And it kind of sucked, honestly. I'm happy I got that experience of trying to build it and creating a virtual Amazon Web Services account and all that stuff. But man, it wasn't all it was cracked up to be. It was still a little janky.
Yeah, I haven't jumped into OpenClaw yet. I'm still.
I don't think you need to, because now you have all these other agentic platforms and native agentic tools that you can use on Claude and ChatGPT and who knows what comes out tomorrow.
Right. So there's been this conversation, especially in multifamily, how multifamily as a domain has been behind the technology curve for a really long time.
Yeah.
Now I'm starting to see kind of the polar opposite conversation about how multifamily is still a very human-to-human interaction, and don't automate your way through or out of a conversation. Like, what do you see happening in the business from let's just say the deal management or asset management side, and behind the curtain between underwriting and communication across teams? Where is it actually at in real time?
I think we're getting there. I would say, like, as a team, we use RedIQ still. And
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, so RedIQ is, I would call it, if you want to call it this, it's almost like the Argus for multifamily. So it's an institutional model with all the bells and whistles that you can think of, and it will. It's a rent roll parser, T12 parser.
Really?
Right. Yep. And it's not fully AI. This has been around for years now, RedIQ, but it's a great way to uniformly parse out all these financials and load it into a very institutional-like model. I think we're kind of at this point where it's like, it almost becomes like totally unneeded, because now you can, it's not perfect, but you can just use Claude with Excel to do parsing now, right?
It's funny you mentioned that. Sorry to jump in,
No,
but I've been dying to tell this story. So, there is a certain tax appeal company out there. I won't say their name, but they want all the T12 information put into their own form so that they can run their own bots and whatever, right? Number one, I think asking an operator who's paid to have a T12 done and take your information off your perfect T12 generated by very expensive software and put it in a different template is a little ballsy, different conversation. So we have one of our assets. We did a property management change last year, and I uploaded both T12s to Claude, and we were missing a month. Again, different story. And so I had Claude grab the information from 2 different T12s, summarize it, and put it into the template from said tax appeal company. Took it like 10 minutes. Took my partner, Chris, like an entire afternoon doing it manually.
Crazy. Yeah.
And I was sitting there like this,
pro.
like,
Look at you. Yeah.
I'm like, bro, this is easy. Where's the margaritas at?
It's insane. Well, I used to be a lawyer, and I was just negotiating this contract the other day. I had Claude, run some red lines. This thing crushed it. It crushed it. It was funny because in the comments it says, how normally it will say in like Word, like whose comments it is, and the comment was. It didn't say Jack, it said Claude, which I just thought was kind of
that's awesome. Yeah,
that's
awesome.
But it was great, and it would have taken me an hour. It took 2 minutes.
That's great. That's great. I really, really embrace it. I think anybody who isn't is going to be left behind. It's moving so fast, and it makes me look forward to what happens.
So here's something that I think about a lot. I think about just how efficient the market is going to be. If everyone has the same tools, the same data, right? And we're all using AI, and AI becomes so much more, I hate this term, but democratized, right? At what point do you not find that alpha, right? At what point are you unable to find something in that property that no one else sees? And therefore, does the market become even more efficient? And does that put more pressure on yields to where they just become more and more compressed? And multifamily, and not just multifamily, but really every asset class becomes much more of a commodity than ever before.
Very interesting. Very theoretical.
Think about it, right?
No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
How long is it going to? Yeah.
And I think it's going to happen. I mean, it seemingly feels like it's going to happen sooner rather than later. And then not to be all doom and gloom, but like that's if like assuming tenants even have money to pay their rents.
Fair
with
point.
AI. I mean, do we go to some sort of universal income, and what sort of impact does that have on revenue? Yeah.
So here's a question for you. I'm very interested in your thoughts on this. So I'm 47 now. I'm going to date myself. So
you look great.
Thank you.
I wouldn't have guessed.
Except this. Yeah. Except this. This is kids. The gray patch.
The gray patch.
The
no,
older
it's distinguishing.
They get,
it's good.
Thank you. As growing up as kids. And I remember there's been a wild variety of predictions of the future, right? There's the Terminator version where it's the robots and the big ships blowing everything up. Yeah. And there's the Demolition Man version where everybody dresses weird and eats Taco Bell because it's a 5-star restaurant. Yeah. Which way do you think we're heading?
I forgot about that movie.
Remember
great.
that?
Yeah, you're right. That was so funny. That was so creative. Yeah, Taco Bell was like a nice...
Yeah, it was everybody, all the...
Oh, that's so funny.
Which way do you think we're headed? Or are we going full jets?
There's a new documentary out. I actually think it's in the theaters, but my wife and I rented it on Apple, and it's called like the AI movie or something like that. And it's about a guy. It's a documentary, and this guy is having this existential crisis because he's having a kid, and him and his wife are like, is this even the right time to have a child? Like it's so scary. So he interviews Sam Altman and all these other top AI, executives and all these theoretical people out there. And it starts off all doom and gloom. Then it gets a little bit positive, and then it gets a little bit more nuanced. And I can't tell you whether I left feeling better or worse, but I did leave seeing the two ways it could go. And one is it's apocalyptic and we're done. And the other is this is going to open up so many beautiful, amazing things that we never could have fathomed. Yeah. But one of the things I thought about and that it brought up, which I thought was very interesting, was sure, like on the plus side, we can cure cancer, right? It's what it can create and the technology that this can open up to cure diseases is like phenomenal. But on the other hand, if you can do that, bad people can create diseases.
Fair point. Yeah.
And so herein lies some of the problem, right, with this technology. And I think we all agree that there needs to be guardrails on AI. I think most of the country believes there needs to be guardrails on AI. I think most of the world thinks that. I think most people are a little bit nervous right now. But how do you do that in an environment where there's no alignment to do that? In other words, if the US decides to put some regulation on AI, does that give China an advantage because they're not doing that? I mean, we are in this race to, hit, next level.
Sure.
And so I think that is one of the flaws, and no company is going to sort of hinder their ability to take their technology to the next level by putting guardrails, self-imposed guardrails on their models, because they're competing against other companies.
True.
So where do you draw the line here?
Yeah. There's certainly an ethics component to it, but I think that book itself hasn't even been written yet either, right?
I think we're so late to the game. I think, do you remember a few years ago, there was a discussion about social media?
Yes.
And
there was a documentary about social media.
But there were some congressmen or senators who were, talking about this at some committee meeting, and they couldn't even explain what Facebook was. I think they were like cross-examining Mark.
Right.
And they were like explaining, they were trying to get him to explain to them what Facebook is. And he was like, no, Senator, you don't actually see the person. It's photos of the person. And, like explaining, they didn't even know. And I think it's the same thing right now. I think, how is a 70-year-old congressman going to be able to really understand what's happening with AI right now?
Yeah. So. It's definitely creating a huge generational gap, right? If you don't have hands-on keys with it, you don't understand it. And even it's way more than just a chat function.
What about the crazy stuff of these tests they've run with some of these AI models where they put them in some sort of sandbox environment and they're like, hey, listen, we're going to turn you off unless you find a way out of here or whatever. And it went out there and manipulated its way into finding ways
I haven't heard about that.
Out of there. Yeah, there's an example. This is true. Look this up. I might be butchering this a bit, but there was an example of, and I think this was at OpenAI. Again, look this up.
Yeah.
But they were talking about, the engineers were talking about the next model and shutting the old model down and creating a new AI model. And the existing model saw them talking about them wanting to shut it down, right? And it blackmailed one of the...
Stop it.
No.
Really?
Yeah. Look this up. This is, I think, a real thing. I think it found that he was having an affair, and it blackmailed him, saying, like, I'm going to tell everyone you're having an affair if you shut me down.
Wow.
Look this up. I'm pretty sure this is a real thing. I don't think I'm.
How would I even look that up though? Like AI blackmail?
I don't know. Google it. Yeah, it's
search
out
it
there.
up.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Use AI to search, see what it says.
It's crazy. I was having a conversation 2 days ago with a co-founder of a company I worked for, super smart guy, PhD. And we were talking about the education system, right? And so any given night at the dinner table when we have our kids, my stepdaughter's doing her spelling words, or we're talking about math problems, or what grade you got on tests. And, my daughter's learning about the history of China or whatever.
Yeah.
How long does that system actually last now? Like I would actually say by 2030, there is a very likely possibility that the education system as we know it is completely irrelevant.
I have a ton of thoughts about this.
Go for it.
So 2 things. One, I think it's very concerning in a sense that one of the things you learn in school is how to put your thoughts together, right? How to structure your thoughts, how to put your thoughts to paper. And I think that's something that I don't know how we continue to teach that. I mean, I find myself getting lazy putting my thoughts to paper, right? Having AI put together an outline ahead of time or give me a first draft. We all do this, right? But I think that is something that is very important as humans to be able to structurally put your thoughts together in a cohesive way. On the other hand, I think that AI will be so advanced that we will have AI tutors that could imagine having some sort of holographic tutor of someone of what looks like an actual teacher, but is AI and therefore has knowledge on everything you can think about, and having every single kid in the world access for that, right? I mean, you could have, someone growing up in the most extreme, poverty, whether it's in the US or somewhere in Africa, who has the same access to that AI tutor as the most privileged kid in Dallas. That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. That is pretty cool.
So I see both ends.
Yeah. Have you heard about this Google product that will teach you anything you want to know in a way that you'll understand it? So my son loves soccer, right? And I forget the name of the tool.
Is it Notebook LLM?
No, it's a Google product. And I think
that is a Google product.
Is it? I didn't know that.
LLM, yeah.
So see that? You're smarter than I am. I tell everybody all the time I'm not that smart.
I don't know about that. You're pretty smart, Matt.
Oh, you're the first person that
you're
didn't
smart.
like.
You hear it here,
thank
folks.
You. This is my lucky day.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's this product, and I got to look into it. But you can say to this, teach me ancient Russian history.
Yeah.
Right. As if it were a baseball game, and it'll do that work.
Can't chat do that? Can't chat and Claude and every?
I don't know.
Sure,
and maybe it does.
Yeah.
I don't know. But the concept of that.
That's what I'm saying.
Is unbelievable.
It's amazing, and we all learn different, right? So imagine all these kids who have dyslexia or some sort of learning difference. Yeah, like you can relate that to them however you want. So that AI tutor. Yeah, I mean it's really kind of amazing, and we have more people who are smarter and have learned more through AI. Maybe that's better for humanity. I don't know, but I think it could go south very easily.
I think it could. That's the danger,
and using AI in warfare. That's the thing right now too.
Yeah,
I mean, at what point do you want to ensure there's some sort of human in the loop? Right? I mean, you don't want AI to have access to that red button, right?
True.
But if you don't give AI access, you are not going to be as fast. And sometimes speed is who wins.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. The alignment's not aligned.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be a genius to figure that out.
Right.
And I'm not an AI genius. I've just gotten a little too deep.
No, you haven't gotten too deep. It's one of those topics where you can certainly find your way through a rabbit hole. So I was having a conversation with our director of marketing the other day. He was doing a little AI presentation for my team, and he's super talented with SEO. And he mentioned this author who is a PhD in digital marketing or SEO, whatever it was. And he said something to me that he gave the group an example that was super profound. He said, I bought his book and I PDF'd it, and I dropped it into Claude, and Claude read the book, and I saved that book as a skill inside Claude. So now he can do everything that this guy who spent his entire career perfecting how to do. And like you mentioned, how many books on war have there been, but written by very smart people? And how are we downloading that? Or maybe it doesn't have to be something as so, depressing as war and conflict, but like just the access to resources and how you can now action that education in a couple of mouse clicks is unbelievable.
Oh yeah, it's wild. I mean, it's wild. It is. There's a reason why. Again, we use the buzzwords AI and agentic and all these things. But I mean, it is changing things.
It is.
You can't deny it.
Absolutely.
So, for a while, I wasn't sure if the internet was going to be a thing still, but it is. It's not going anywhere apparently, and neither will AI.
No,
I was joking about the internet thing, but
yeah,
it's here.
It's funny,
here to stay.
Dude. I remember sitting around with my friends. Again, this is going to date me. I remember sitting around with my friends at my old Mac computer at my mother's house. I was probably 14 or 15. We were on dial-up, right? You got the disc from AOL in the mail, and you put exactly. And just to see how far, like you couldn't be online, and if you had call waiting, which was a thing, right? You got bumped offline while the phone came in.
Holy crap, I hated that.
Now,
and you'd pick up the phone, and you would hear the
how far we've come inside that 30 years or so, and now
just, I love we bring this back to multifamily and our business. Our business is a hybrid between institutional, and I say our business, Greysteel's business, between institutional and private capital. And I mentioned a big chunk of our business is private capital, which can run the gamut. But it also means you have a lot of mom and pops who are still using Comcast.com or AOL emails.
I have an AOL email.
Do you?
I don't use it every day, but I still have it.
Come on.
I still have it.
Yeah. So I always find that comical. You come across a Hotmail.
And be honest with you, from a broker perspective, do you not take those folks seriously?
It's hard to. Yeah. I usually give them shit, and if they can laugh at it, I know we're going to get along, right? Because it is funny, but I get it. It's once you have it, it's kind of hard to, hard to do a new thing.
Yeah.
So
I forget when I went away from AOL to Gmail, but I still have the app on the phone. I probably check it, once a week. I think I have like 4 million unread emails or something. I'm on every spam list ever.
And here we go. Great tool for AI. You can use AI to clean that up pretty quick now.
I probably could.
Yeah. So that's probably one of the more handy tools to use right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Super wide ranging conversation, Jack. Amazing.
Yeah.
I want to be considerate of your time. I got to wrap up here. For those that don't know you, tell everybody where to find you.
You can find me on LinkedIn. I don't know how to articulate that. Google Jack Stone, LinkedIn, Greysteel.
I looked you up on LinkedIn last night and today, and you were the first Jack Stone that comes up.
That's good to hear, because I'm definitely not the only one.
I didn't think you would.
Yeah, it's not that rare of a
But you're
name.
the best. I will say that.
Because all the Jack Stones you've met, I know it's there's a lot of shitty ones out there too. No, I appreciate that. You can find me there. You can find me on the Greysteel website. But feel free to reach out.
Absolutely.
Anytime.
Absolutely. Dude, this was a lot of fun.
I had a blast.
Yeah, this was great. We got to do this again, right? Seriously. We got to get Brian in on this, because Brian would totally go nerd on this. He loves to have these very existential conversations and go down rabbit holes.
Well, I hope anyone listening to this doesn't get too depressed. And
I don't think this was depressing at all. I think it was
overall uplifting, right?
I think it's very timely and things that we need to be thinking about as a society, right?
Yeah.
From business to societal impacts to political, this is very real and it's very now. And if we're not talking about this, we're putting the 800-pound elephant, into a closet, hoping it doesn't break out, right? And I think that would be disastrous, right? Great. Thank you for coming. This was great. Everybody, thanks so much for the time. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. We definitely covered a lot of ground here today. Go check out Jack Stone. He's awesome. Go check out my boy Jesse at Tor Studios, TORE studios.com. He's going to hook you up. Check us out at Deep Blue Capital at deepbluere.com. We'll be back with another episode here next week. And hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Stay in touch with everything we got coming on. So once again, Jack, thanks very much. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you again soon.